obviously. Welcome to Just Your Average Podcast. I'm Chad. That's Chris. This is Andrew. If you listen to our little 12-minute video before my power cut out,
if it actually saved correctly,
you know who this sweet boy is.
I'm from Florida. It didn't save.
He's an asshole. He left me.
I used to live in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Most of my life.
But he hates everything about us.
I do.
it's fine. There's enough to hate.
The
Smallest state, the state to hate the most. Speaking of which, I put this up as a status, and you probably, because we're not friends on Facebook, but you didn't see this, but it was funny. I'm driving in Connecticut, which is also a shit state, and I'm coming up, and the GPS does Google. I don't know if you've done this before, but when you leave the state, it'll tell you what state you're in, and it'll say, welcome to Massachusetts, welcome to Rhode Island. Loud thud, the road is instantly 10 times worse.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, that's right.
You don't need it to say anything. It's just like, beware of potholes.
To be fair, Rhode Island does have shit roads, but Connecticut, very nice roads in Connecticut.
Yeah, but that's also because all the rich old fucks live out there.
Yeah. Like Vince McMahon.
Well.
Oh, fuck, do you want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that. You're fired!
He's not a wrestling fan, so he doesn't know about the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That was an awful time.
It's alright.
No. I feel bad, because I feel like a lot of this episode is going to be like us reminiscing on old shit, and you're just going to be the bystander being like, yeah.
That's fine. I accept that. It was like last episode. You and the other two talking all the time, so fuck it. Why not? It's the second episode. Let's go. Redux, the sequel. Mark 3.
I'm so mad. I have shitty like wiring in the house, so the circuit blew, and when that blows, our power goes.
Yeah, everything went because we don't have a UPS, so... You do have a UPS. We actually could have used it.
You need to invest in one of those.
I have one.
Yeah, I know
That's
you
what
do.
that's for?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's a battery backup, so if the power fails, it gives you a chance.
Well, next week we'll use that.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Would have been good about a half an hour ago.
Give or take.
You know what?
Go check out our Let's Play before they decide to instantly cut me out of the conversations. It'll be fine.
Alright, so we're just going to jump into this conversation right now.
Are we?
We're getting into another Star Wars.
Another.
We actually have somebody who's pretty intelligent in the land of Star Wars.
That's me. So, what I was saying was, before I was so rudely interrupted by your shitty power.
The shit that doesn't exist anymore. It's like the expanded universe. It just doesn't exist.
What kept Star Wars alive for such a long time was the old expanded universe. There was a lot of great books that were put out. It really expanded the whole, mythos and everything else of the Star Wars universe, and a lot of that was canon. George Lucas took a lot from those books. For instance, Coruscant wasn't even called Coruscant. I don't know if you knew this, but in the prequels, Coruscant was going to be called something else, but he got the name Coruscant from, I think, the Timothy Zahn books. So he pulled a lot from those, and a lot of that stuff, and because you went to StarWars.com way back in the day, they would have profiles for each of those characters. Grand Admiral Thrawn, Kyle Katarn, Mara Jade, all of them had their own profiles.
See, that's the thing. Like, George Lucas gets such a bad rap, but I guarantee you if he didn't direct the prequels, but he wrote them, they would be excellent movies. Because I rewatched all the movies. I haven't rewatched Revenge of the Sith, but it's pretty familiar in my head because I've seen that one the most. Phantom Menace is just
Trash.
like, it's not even a joke saying how bad that movie is. I used to think Attack of the Clones was bad, but I watched it the other day. I'm like, this isn't a bad movie. It's a pointless movie because all it is filler. Like, you watch an anime, there's the filler episodes.
Yeah, but that's why you take the first
are.
and the second movie, kind of mash them together, and then the third movie's an almost halfway decent explanation of, how the Skywalker family fucks up everything.
Yeah, but when you're making, like, $1 million movies, having a filler episode as a movie doesn't always work out.
Episode 2, and this is now becoming unpopular opinion, but I like Episode 2 better than Episode 1. I've noticed there's a lot of people who are coming out now, and they're like, you know what? I think Episode 1's actually pretty damn good.
No, it's not.
It's probably the best of the prequels.
It's
and
not.
It's actually starting to become kind of an annoying opinion, and it's just, I mean, go back and watch it. It's so cringeworthy when Jar Jar has to speak, or when little Anakin has to speak, and it's...
Little Annie.
Like, I feel bad for that kid. Like, obviously, I think he's like a drug addict. Like, some shit happened to him.
Same kid from Terminator 2. He's a drug addict now.
Yeah.
All child
the
actors.
original fucking, what's his name?
John Connor.
Yeah.
There we go.
We should talk about that too later. No, but real quick with this, like, pretty much, like, the first one, like, I feel bad for the actor of Jar Jar because he just put out publicly that he almost like killed himself and everything because of the backlash. When I think of Jar Jar, I never think of the actor. Like, if people have like the fucking stupidity to attack the actor for something he was told to do.
Yeah,
like,
but then it's the same thing about the young Asian lady who like just got railed on fucking Instagram. She deleted her Instagram.
Fault.
Yeah, but everybody's still gonna be a fucking whiny little bitch about it.
It's because people are assholes. And granted, she's probably the right there with Jar Jar because that character was bullshit. The fucking what's her name?
Rose.
Rose. That was a bad character.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
let me just go back though. So what kept Star Wars alive throughout most of that was that kind of stuff because there's some great stories and there's some great books. Even the video games had some really great stories, and a lot of them are better than Episode 8. My favorite game of all time is Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, which came out in 1997. It was a PC first-person shooter. It was the second in the series. Which
is that the one you still play?
Yes, that's the one I still play.
They still have the servers going?
You don't need a server. You connect via IP address.
Oh, okay.
And someone hosts it up. You connect to their IP address, and then you're good to go. There is a Discord channel that I run, so check it out, jkdf2.net.
You'll have to write it down. I'll pop it up on screen.
But anyway, this game came out, and they did something that was really interesting, because Dark Forces came out first in 95, and it was basically a Doom clone. But it was a very well-received game, because Doom was, like, the epitome of everything in first-person shooters. So they came out with a Star Wars version, and there were some enhancements. You could actually jump, you could look up and down, which you can't do in Doom. You could crouch, which you couldn't do in Doom. Although
everything that I fucking wish you could do.
Although crouching in Dark Forces is a little ridiculous because like you'll walk into a room and there'll be like, I don't know, maybe like 5 inches tall little hole, and when you crouch, you actually get all the way down like that. So I guess he's really supposed to be crawling, but it doesn't work that way because he still moves at full speed. So I don't know, it's kind of weird, but.
There's no time to slow down.
It's 95.
Yeah, it's 1995.
You can only do as much as you can with like 200 megs of RAM. That's it.
So, but Dark Forces was a very well acclaimed game, and it deals with the storyline between Episode 4 and Episode 5, and actually a little bit before Episode 4, the first level. And that story was how the Death Star plans were stolen. It was Kyle Katarn and Jan Ors, his pilot. She drops him off. He jumps in. He fucks the base up. Goes in there, steals the plans, gets out, and then they show this super cheesy cutscene where this guy's just like, soon afterwards, the Death Star is destroyed, and then like you hear the meaty music, the do do do, and then you see like the ships fly by.
So do you hate Rogue One?
All right, so I'll get to that in a second. So that's the story. It starts off before Episode 4, and then it goes on to a little bit after with the Dark Trooper. Really cool story because the Dark Trooper was a really interesting concept. Sorry, and they show how that was going to be the Empire's next form of attack. Kyle screws it up, and then they're like, "All right, we're not doing that anymore." It goes into that.
So what is that then? Because I'm going to be the guy who knows nothing because I know nothing.
I know nothing.
The Dark Trooper?
Yeah.
The Dark Trooper was an experimental stormtrooper that was a robot, and he was like huge. He was probably like the size of 2 guys, and he had a giant cannon, and they tested it on a TAC base, but that was phase 2. There was 3 phases of the Dark Trooper. Phase 1 was just the skeleton. Stage 2 had armor, and then stage 3 was where you could actually put a guy inside of it. But anyway, so that's the whole story with Dark Forces. Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight takes place a year after Return of the Jedi. They talk about how like a whole new faction arrives of Dark Jedi. They're going to take over the Remnant, and they're going to try to find the Valley of the Jedi. And the 7 Dark Jedi, the leader is Jarek. And what was cool about this game was, and a lot of games don't do this anymore, or they don't do it at all, actually, I should say, is they had live actors in the cutscenes, which was really cool. So it actually made you feel like you were playing a movie, which was really cool. And, so you have these live action cutscenes, jump into the game, do your thing in the game, and then it would cut to another cutscene. Really, really cool concept. And the actors, I mean, yeah, you look back now, the acting's a little cheesy and stuff, but for 1997, it was actually pretty cool. And I think that was the first time you actually got to see a lightsaber in a full-blown video since Return of the Jedi, probably.
Well, I feel like it was also easier in that time to do, like, the kind of, like, live-action movie, just due to the fact of, because it had to load, it gave them a reason to put it in, so you could watch that, and then it would load the entire next section. Whereas here, you can just, like, okay, cool, mocap. It all loads at once. I don't know, from a game's perspective.
So, Fun game and a great story. A lot of people consider it to have the best story out of the entire Jedi Knight series. There's 5 games total. The expansion pack, Mysteries of the Sith, goes into Mara Jade, where Kyle Katarn trains Mara Jade for a little bit after she leaves the dark side. And a lot of that stuff was pulled from the books, and it was so cool how they all worked together. And that's what I thought was always cool about the expanded universe, is like no one was ever really stepping on each other's toes. It might have happened from time to time, but they all worked together.
Because you had a lot of Dark Horse comics too that kind of talked to like the people who did all the books and all that in video games, right?
Yeah. So
Dark Horse got fucked out of this whole. They probably got fucked the most because that was one of their biggest selling comics.
So when Disney bought it and they announced that they were going to do a new trilogy, I personally got super excited because Kyle Katarn's my favorite Star Wars character. He's a badass. He's basically like the Chuck Norris of Star Wars. He's got a beard. He carries around a shit ton of weapons, and he's just like, and he has a lightsaber.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he doesn't give a fuck about anything.
That's why, like, I'm really hoping with Episode 9 that they pull some of these characters in. They probably won't.
They probably won't, and it's such a disappointment because
before we get in Episode 9, how do you feel about Rogue One?
All right, so yeah, let's get back to that. Rogue One is a good movie. It is a very good movie. But because of my bias with Kyle Katarn, I hate it because they basically just killed his story. And what also kind of pisses me off is the main character in Rogue One. Her name is Jyn Erso. Kyle Katarn's pilot was named Jan Ors. Gee, I wonder where they got that.
Well, I mean, you can kind of say it's a callback rather than like them directly ripping from it.
Did you actually see Rogue One?
We've gone over this. I haven't seen any of these.
Oh, all right. Well,
I haven't seen any of the new stuff.
You don't care about spoilers. What's spoilers?
Fuck you. No spoilers.
Instead of like everybody just dying like in Rogue One the way they did, I told you the other day there was supposed to be a scene where they're all on the beach and Darth Vader. It's like pretty much at the end of Rogue One, Darth Vader.
But even before that, initially they wanted to save the characters, and it was Disney that came. This is one thing I'm actually kind of happy Disney did. Yeah, they came in and they were like, well, no, they probably should die at the end because it doesn't make any sense. Then your version, which is...
No, my version, they still all die. It's pretty much, instead of at the end, in A New Hope where they take over the ship and everything and all that shit happens. This one, at the end of Rogue One, Darth Vader just gets on the ship and just pretty much fucking destroys everybody.
Okay.
I literally just want to show you this one scene. It's like the best Darth Vader you've ever seen in your life.
Just write it down. Show me later, after this.
Alright. But in the scene, pretty much they're all on the beach. I feel like it's more of they're all just like they land on the beach on the plane or something. Everything works out. Then Darth Vader's ship lands, and he just goes on the beach. His lightsaber lights up, and just destroys everybody. Like everybody's coming at him. They're all shooting blasters and everything. He's like deflecting them, like ripping people apart with the lightsaber. That could have been a dope scene.
It could have, but
the scene, I like the scene because it's like a horror movie in Rogue One.
Yeah, but they still
like all of a sudden,
PG-13.
all of a sudden in Rogue One, you just hear the lightsaber go.
Well, even before that, it's still like the lights are out and you just start hearing the breathing.
Yeah, and then the guy's like, "Get me out of here, help me!" And then he gets. It's fucking dope. I gotta show you after.
Yeah,
I will say, just to add something into that, there's a scene in Rogue One when they're trying to get the data disk out of that really tall spire, and they have that thing that spins around and gets it. That is almost, if you ever have played Dark Forces, there's a level where you're stealing the mineral that's used to make the Dark Trooper armor, and it's on a spire just like that, and you're going up the staircase that goes around it, and you have to activate this switch that moves an elevator that goes like up and rotates around, just like the little thing that grabs it. So that was basically ripped right out of Dark Forces. When I saw that in the theater, I was kind of marking out.
Did you get all giddy?
Yeah, I was like marking out, and of course the people I'm with, they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "That's Dark Forces."
All right, now let's jump ahead, because I don't want to stay in Star Wars for too long, because we got a lot to talk about. This is gonna be a longer episode. I apologize. I apologize if you're in a rush, but I'm not in a rush. All right, cool. Force Awakens. You've seen Force Awakens, right?
No.
You need to come over one day and just watch movies with me.
I am poor and can't afford a lot of things.
I have them on my Fire Stick.
That's fine.
I just want to buy you a Fire Stick.
No.
I don't have money to buy myself things, so.
Rewire your house.
Force Awakens is my third favorite Star Wars movie. I don't care.
Wait, Force Awakens is the first in the new trilogy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then yes, I've seen it.
See, I don't care if people are like, oh, it's fanfare. Star Wars isn't meant to be what The Last Jedi was. And I'm saying that in the fact that, yes, I like things different. I like things to be pushed, like them to push the envelope and all that. But you don't need to change it so much that everybody's expectations are just fucking thrown away. And that fucking...
because of a change of director.
Rian Johnson's a piece of shit. But J.J. Abrams, he pretty much put a movie out there that should have pleased all the Star Wars.
It was a decent movie. I enjoyed Force Awakens.
That forest fight scene was awesome. When everybody thought fucking Finn was going to be the hero and be a Jedi and all that, but he wasn't. And I'm not bagging on Finn. He's a cool character besides for in Last Jedi because he sucked.
Yeah, and I'll get into that too. But
yeah, how they ruined Finn.
There's a lot more to it's not just Finn, it's Rey, it's all of it.
I liked Rey's arc in Last Jedi, actually.
I didn't. It's mostly because they make her out to be completely incorruptible. I feel like she should have had a moment of weakness. She should have had Luke had a moment of weakness in Empire Strikes Back.
Well, Luke had the perfect moment of weakness in those flashbacks in Last Jedi.
Debatably wasn't in the original trilogy, wasn't the original plan for him to turn to the dark side in the last movie? Like, it was kind of leading up to that, and then they just kind of, like, flipped it, and it was like, oh, no, he's good,
But I feel like a lot of that
I don't know about that. I know the original story, way back, the original story was Obi-Wan was going to actually live till the end of Return of the Jedi, but I think Alec Guinness...
hated it?
Well, yeah, Alec Guinness hated it. They kept begging him to come back, that's why he only came back as a Force ghost. But I think the original story was to have him make it to the end and duel Vader side by side, which I don't know how that would have worked
back
out.
then it wouldn't have been good.
I don't
like the lightsaber fight between Luke and Darth Vader, because the lightsaber fights in A New Hope are awful.
The final scene in Return of the Jedi with Luke and Vader fighting is probably my favorite moment of the entire
That movie gets
Star
a bad
Wars.
rap. That's your favorite one.
That's
right?
my favorite. Return of the Jedi is my favorite just because of that ending. It's just it closes the story so well and it completes it so. And there's so much emotion built up, so much pent up emotion in Return of the Jedi, especially when Vader does the sister. So you have a twin sister. Although. This is something I've thought about, and I don't know if anyone else has ever thought about this, but where was Luke hiding that entire time? Because Vader was just kind of pacing back and forth. I don't know how he didn't see him.
I think he was just scouting. Maybe he got lost in a corridor or something.
Can't see this damn helmet.
No, but like, was there anything in Force Awakens you didn't like?
The only thing is, I think it might have been too reminiscent of A New Hope. Maybe a little too.
No, but The Force Awakens did it perfect. Like, I feel like they did a good thing with every single original movie. They had like remnants of A New Hope, they had remnants of Empire and remnants of Jedi, all in that little movie.
Well, here's the other thing, and I want to add to this, and I'm going to go into it with Episode 8 also. They need to stop alienating the prequels. As much as we bagged on Phantom Menace, they need to stop alienating it, because this is part of the series, whether they like it or not. It's part of George Lucas's story of the 6. They need to stop acting like the first 3 didn't happen. The first 3 chronologically, sorry, not the...
We get it. But to be fair, like, this is new movies. Like, there's nothing in the prequels that we really need to talk about too much.
Well, no. All right, so let's go into Episode 8. The whole Canto Bite scene when they're on the casino. First of all, Lando should have been there, and I'm still pissed off that Lando wasn't there. And I know they were like, oh, that would have just been stupid fanfare or whatever. No, but here's the thing. Billy D. Williams, they interviewed him, and he said that he wanted to come back and reprise the role. And Rian Johnson, again, who's an asshole, was like, oh, I couldn't find a place to put him in.
All right, basically, let's plot this scene out. You haven't seen the movie, so pretty much Finn and Rose go to Canto Bite to find, what was it, a hacker?
A hacker.
A hacker that can...
free the horses.
All right. Well, again, I've already spoiled.
Well, no, and I'm gonna get to this, and this is why I want to talk about this scene.
But they pretty much went there to get the hacker to find how. What was the point of him going there again?
To get in to stop the hyperspace tracking. That's on the not the resistance. They're not
New
called
Order.
the Empire. The New Order, right?
Order.
They're not called the Empire anymore. It's the New
But
Order.
you know what would have been cool? Hey, we need ships that they won't be able to track. You know who might have ships? This guy, this fucking homie we got on that Canto Bite planet. He just
And where else would Lando be hanging out?
Yeah,
he's Lando.
He's fucking the most suave motherfucker. Why not be at a casino planet with his little android friend?
Yeah.
Like, they just go there and get mad bitches and stuff.
Or he runs the casino planet.
Yeah. He
Shits
could
and
even
giggles.
fucking do that. It could be his fucking side project. Then they fucking go there. They're like, we need ships. And he goes to fucking Cloud City. He's like, take your pick.
Now, the scene right after with the horses or whatever, which was so stupid.
Fucking stupid.
You know, when that scene was happening, so all my, like, when I go to see a movie, I'm pretty good at predicting what's going to happen next. In episode 8, everything I predicted was wrong. Because Rian Johnson is an asshole.
No,
what
but
that should have been.
That was his point, though.
When the scene when they're at the bar and you see the glasses shaking and everything, you know what that should have been? Pod racing! Instead of stupid animals.
Yeah.
Like,
That would have been a good throwback.
that would have been an awesome throwback.
No, but one of my main problems with that is they're fucking run through the thing. They're busting through walls. There is no fucking way they're running through, getting all those wires, hitting them in the necks, running through walls. There's no way they wouldn't fall off those fucking things with fucking debris hitting them and everything.
Oh, and also there's no way that the security wouldn't have been able to shoot him.
Yeah, and that's like a
It's like
fucking...
a-
like those
They're not
fucking...
stormtroopers.
Those fucking things are like a shitty, like, Final Fantasy, like...
It's also, I
Right.
think, one of those things where they were like trying to
They're
appease
like-
animal rights
Yeah.
people and stuff like that.
They're like, women are good...
Don't
like,
get me wrong, I like
Yeah.
animals. I do, but it's like,
We're not bagging on things, but
It's Star Wars.
There's a problem when filmmakers try to shove fucking shit right up your asshole.
first of all, it's Star Wars. Star Wars doesn't take place on current year Earth.
Yeah, Star Wars don't give
The
a
problems
fuck. They
that we
fucking
have right
so
now...
many different races of aliens
Well,
out
no,
there.
the problems that we have here on Earth, Star Wars should be an escape from that. It shouldn't be like, oh, this is symbolism for, cruelty to animals. Like,
Yeah.
It's just good and evil, black
And we
and
don't
white.
need fucking little kids with brooms being like, force broom. Because they're like, the Skywalkers aren't the only ones with the force. No, you could have done it in a more creative way and not just be like, cop out, this kid doesn't know anything about the force, but he has the will for it.
There's only 2 scenes that I really enjoyed in The Last Jedi.
Fucking fight scene with Rey.
The fight scene with Rey and Kylo I enjoyed, although we've talked about it. There's the ridiculous
There's a-
editing out the
Yeah,
sword.
there's a scene where she's hitting...
Oh no, I've seen it. I
attacking
saw
one
a
of the
GIF
guards.
on Reddit. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like
And
she
pretty
turns
much,
around and
he has
disappears.
the 2 knives, but then when she doesn't move on, his hand goes like this, and there's no knife there, and he just goes like that, like tries to hide it.
Yeah, it just
didn't-
instantly disappears.
Instead of like just reshooting it.
It would have killed her.
Yeah, he could have been like.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is the back of your neck now.
But that scene was enjoyable.
It was awesome.
For action. I
Besides for
did
killing
enjoy
Snow.
the Kylo Ren thing where he takes the lightsaber, turns it off, turns it on, kills
That
the
was
guy.
awesome. Yeah. No, the choreography in this movie was awesome. Like, this is a beautiful movie. Like, you can't take that away from Rian Johnson. He's a good filmmaker in the sense where he can film stuff, but he's a shitty storyteller.
The other scene that I really, really enjoyed was the one when Rey goes into the cave and it's just like all dark around her, and then it's almost like there's this mirror effect where it's just going repeatedly.
That was cool.
That scene was really cool, like where she snaps her fingers and it's like kind of delayed. You just see it going down the line, and that moment actually kind of got me at the edge of my seat, especially when she walks up and she's like, "I need to know who my parents are," or whatever. I can't remember the exact line, but then you see like the 2.
Dude, were you so hoping that, like, you know how she like kind of warped into the different place with the water and everything? Were you fucking so hoping she would have like warped right next to Kylo Ren, and something would have happened there?
No, not really.
I really thought something like that was going to happen. Where
I
she
felt
was-
like that build-up was okay, where I don't think she should have just been thrown into it, but when you saw the 2 shadows walking up, I was kind of at the edge of my seat because I wasn't sure who we were going to see. I wasn't sure if we were going to see, because there were so many theories out there online, and I was doing my best not to read spoilers, but I was really into like fan theories.
Dude, I didn't watch any trailers or anything leading up to this. Like that, you know how hard that was.
Oh yeah, no,
And
trust
obviously
me, I know.
doing this show now, it's going to be impossible.
Harder.
But
Yeah.
there were so many fan theories, and I love reading fan theories. And one was that it could have been Obi-Wan Kenobi's granddaughter, because in Clone Wars they hinted that Obi-Wan had a girlfriend, this queen of some. I didn't watch Clone Wars. I did watch Rebels, but there was this whole like thing where they thought that he might have had made love with this queen. She could have had a daughter, and the daughter could have had Rey and abandoned her because it would have been like bad, or I don't know, something like that. So there was this theory that Rey could have been a descendant of a Kenobi, and that's how, which I don't hate, but you know,
No idea what's going on. Sure. Whatever.
Just saying.
all right. So you know, there was that, and you know, so I was kind of at the edge of my seat hoping to see who these two people were going to be, and then it just turns into her.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a throwback to Empire when Luke cuts off Vader's head.
Yeah.
And he sees himself. So it's kind of a throwback to that, which was kind of cool. But
see, it would have been so cool if just her and Kylo Ren just went off together. But then you have more scenes of them, and as they're going forward, Rey discovers more and more that he's not the one that's right and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Just have her turn to the dark side. That's probably
that was one of my favorite fan theories was that and that was actually mine
good.
Because she got so angry at the end of 7 when she was like knocked Kylo down and she was like beating him. My theory was that she was going to go to the dark side and Kylo was going to be pulled back to the light, and I think that would have been a really cool dynamic to do.
See, I just feel like Kylo's so lost, and he's just like so.
He's only lost because he never got out of his angsty teen period.
No, you know what bothers me the most? You know what bothers me the most about this? He totally ruined Kylo Ren's obsession with Darth Vader and the Sith, like back in the day.
Why?
Like in 7, he had such an obsession.
Yeah, because he had Vader's helmet. And
yeah,
he was like,
pretty much worshipped it.
Yeah, he jerked off a little bit. It's fine.
And in 8, like he just doesn't even
pay attention to it.
When he fucking ruined his helmet too, I was so mad because that helmet's awesome.
Wait, his personal helmet or
yeah the Kylo Ren helmet? He just fucking breaks it.
So, a couple things that I would change that I would have loved to have seen differently. Like I was talking about, I was trying to predict stuff throughout the movie. When they went into hyperspace, the Resistance, and they stopped and they were like collecting all their thoughts and everything like that, and then the New Order hyperspace is in, and they're like, "Oh my god, how did they track us?" My first thought was, "There's a mole on the ship." And that instantly would have been a better story than, we got hyperspace tracking now. Because then think about the dynamic you could have made on the ship. Who's the mole? And then have this whole thing where like no one's trusting each other.
Yeah, but it would have turned into a game of Clue at that point.
No, but if you saw the movie, it would have made more sense why they didn't trust Poe.
Probably.
Or Rose.
Yeah.
Or that's when Benicio del Toro's character shows up. Yeah. Who are you? Oh, I'm just an engineer.
Dude, if they fucking bring him back, I'm going to be so mad. Because at the end of the movie, he pretty much... Like, he goes with fucking Finn and Rose, but then he sells them out because he's like, more money. If they bring his character back, that's going to be stupid.
What if they put a 4th movie out? What if they just kind of, like, try to step over this, like, 2nd movie and then just,
there's
like...
a fan petition out to actually remake The Last Jedi.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Basically, like... Give it all you want. Like, if you like the movie, there's a lot of people out there like, I love The Last Jedi, and they're just in denial. But pretty much, Luke, we had so much expectations for Luke, and they just fucking.
And that's where I was also going to get at too.
Like I could but the thing is, I could forgive everything about The Last Jedi, the Canto Bite scene, all that, if they just made Luke cool. Like I even liked the scene where he was running, jumping over things, like sucking the teat and all that stuff.
Oh, that was weird.
It was hilarious, though, because it reminded me of Yoda.
That's the other thing. The humor in 8 is so weird. It always comes at the worst possible
Well, they try
time.
to make it like a Marvel movie. It's Disney. They're
weird.
like, you know, it works, Marvel.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They did it so well in that first movie. It's not that hard to fuck it up and make a second movie with the same tone. It's director.
No, because the tone was supposed to be a lot darker. This movie was supposed to be like really, really dark.
And
then it starts off with Poe, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, can't hear you. What? Am I still on hold?"
Yeah.
That was pretty cringeworthy.
Yeah.
But no, and I talked with you about this the other night, and I really thought it was cool that what would have been cool was when Rey goes to find Luke, instead of Luke just going, "I don't want the lightsaber," it would have been cool if then like the other Jedi, the teacher, came out of like the other ones that were there came out of hiding, and they were like, "We've been hiding here since it happened because we knew about Snoke. We acted like we were dead, but we all went into, hiding after the Clone Wars."
See, even that, like, there could be that, or even Luke could like get the lightsaber and just be in shock of like.
Well, yeah, he should have been in shock. Like, how did you find this? Where did you get
like,
this?
there's no way.
Why is it in my hands
fucking no way Luke would see this lightsaber, know what it is, and be like. He would be like, "Holy shit! Like, how did you get this?" Like, he's not. He's very emotional per character, but he's not.
He could have. He could have even smashed it. Like from the way you're talking about it, he could have just like gone to smash it, and like Rey could have stopped it, and she could just be like, "So you're gonna train me now, right?"
But what I was really hoping, like, I really want there to be more Sith characters coming in. Like, imagine if Episode 9 is in Episode 8 they put a distress call out, but things happened so fast, everybody's complaining like, why didn't more people respond to it? Fuck, that's a fast-paced movie. Like everything just happens in like one little sequence, pretty much.
Yeah.
Imagine if people respond to the distress call and it's actually Siths or Jedis or whatever from like distant universes coming. Like it doesn't. Not everybody has to be in this one center of the universe. The universe is fucking huge. So why do all the Jedi and the Sith have to be right there?
Yeah, but it's also like they're not in just one center of the universe. Because if you're talking about like hyperspace from the way that you're going on about it, it's like you don't know how far it is. Like they don't really equate it to distance.
Well, in the expanded universe, they covered that. There was actually a whole map, and they even showed the outer rim territory that they talk about.
Yeah, but if you see the speed they were going at hyperspace, it's not that far because it doesn't take that long for them to go to hyperspace from one end to the other. Where if it's actually people like way out there, hyperspace will probably take like an hour or two to fucking.
Well, I
fly
think
down.
that's kind of hinted at in episode 4 when they're hyperspacing to Alderaan. It's kind of hinted that's not like a 10-minute ride. That he's like, because doesn't Han say something like "sit back"?
Yeah, it's gonna be a long ride.
Yeah.
See, I know some things.
I honestly just because Carrie Russell, was that her name?
Who?
Felicity.
Felicity.
The show Felicity from back in the day, the actress.
I thought you were talking about Felicity Jones. Sorry.
No,
What does she play in the movie?
she's gonna be in 9.
Oh, then
But
I
I want
fucking clue.
if you watch I've only seen one episode of The Americans, but she's fucking crazy in that. Like,
Again, I don't know.
she was really good. So I want her to be like a fucking dark Sith and just come and wreck house.
I don't know about you, but
There's only one.
every
movie left
Star
to
Wars
happen.
movie that has come out up until 8, I had been there. I shouldn't say that because I wasn't born in the 60s, so I couldn't have seen the original. But
You saw him when you could.
saw him when I could, but when I saw him, I was always there opening night of the ones where I was alive for. And Solo was the first one I didn't go opening night. I waited like almost a month and a half
I
later.
still haven't seen it.
Yeah, but that's kind of an offshoot. That's not like a direct Star Wars movie. If you
But
want to put
still,
it that
like
way.
I saw
Well, you're
Rogue
a
One
Star
opening
Wars
night.
fanatic,
Okay.
though. It's kind of
Yeah, and I because after 8, I was just feeling sick to my stomach after I saw the movie. I felt like I was just kicked in the balls.
like. There's been 2 movies I've left the theater angry and like very upset about. Clash of the Titans, because that movie is fucking garbage. Have you ever seen that? The
Was
new
it-
one. The new one.
Yeah, it's after the first Titan. What was the first one?
No, Clash of the Titans first one, then is Wrath of the Titans. I
Yeah.
didn't see Wrath of the Titans. Clash of the Titans, I like all that Greek mythology bullshit. This movie sucked. So I left the theater pissed. But I have never left a movie more upset in my life than The Last Jedi.
yeah, it was pretty bad.
I mean, speaking of like Clash and Wrath, like I saw both of them, and like they're not horrible movies,
It's awful.
but everybody's got their own opinion. I'm not gonna fight it right here.
But I don't know what they're going to do with Luke's... The way they're talking about Luke's going to be in like probably 50 to 60% of the movie.
You know what I would have loved in episode 8 when Luke did the whole teleport thing, the force projection, which that's not the first time in the Mysteries of the Sith there's actually a power called force projection where you can make like a clone of yourself.
Like, to his credit, most of the Jedi powers he actually got from Legends that he put in.
Yeah, and but that was force projection was only like within a room. With him, he did it across the galaxy, so obviously he's going to be exhausted and all that. What I was really hoping for in that scene, I was hoping that he wasn't just going to die because I'd be like, oh, that's going to suck so much. What I was hoping for was when he was floating and when he fell back down and he started climbing back up. When the camera was slowly panning around, I was hoping for Ewan McGregor to be standing there as Obi-Wan, as a ghost, and be like, how do you feel? And then Luke would be like, I've forgotten, because I've been cut off from the Force for so long, I've forgotten. And then Obi-Wan would have been like, it'll come back to you in time. Come, we have much to discuss. I think that would have been so cool. It would have gotten me hyped for 9, but now I don't even know what to...
Even like we talked about, like even like if he just gave, like he turned his back on the Force pretty much.
Right.
So at the end of that, even if he just like came to a realization like the Force is real, like I made a mistake, like I let my feelings and emotions get the best of me, like pretty much Yoda told him not to do, and just give himself to the Force. But he can, his like body just goes to the Force, and then just like I don't know.
Although if you think about it, his hand should have fallen.
It's a robot hand.
It is a robot hand.
Did you hear about the fucking theories that fucking Rey is a clone of the robot hand? I know they had a lot of... Yeah. No, not the robot hand.
The hand that got cut off.
The hand that got cut off. I
can kind of see that.
They found a way to clone the hand, and that's what Rey is.
You know, there were actually...
It would be a callback.
They had legends.
In the legend, there was Luke with 2 U's, who was the evil clone of the hand.
Yeah.
That's how they cloned him. That was in Legends. I don't know how good that story is, but I know some people kind of rag on
really
it.
Bad.
Yeah, some people rag on it.
But this could actually make sense. I really don't think her parents are just fucking...
Randos.
Well, I actually don't hate that because life is cruel, and sometimes that's just the way it is.
No, but J.J. Abrams built it up so much that if it's only that...
Hey, he made a really good story in the face of like, oh, cool, you don't know who her parents are, and maybe we'll reveal it, maybe we won't. It'd kind of be more interesting to see, hey, you don't actually have parents, you're just a test tube baby. Tough titties.
Yeah. That would have been cool, or a granddaughter of Obi-Wan.
Yeah, but then they'd have to explain all that. Like, how do you have a granddaughter?
Well, the Force, man. You see it.
She just, like, splooged into the... Like, no.
I don't know. But, final thoughts on Star Wars? What are your hopes for fucking Episode 9? Because the problem is, this is the last fucking movie in the Skywalker saga.
I don't know how they're going to rectify this. I really don't.
Because the problem
I'm going to be going in with no expectations, and I don't even know if I'm going to go opening night. And that kind of hurts me to say that, because like I said, I've seen pretty much all of them, and it's just...
So you may hate me.
If you're...
But they just hit a big-ass reset button. Somehow, some way or another, someone figures out, hey, this is a Force power, you can go back, and they just kill Luke Skywalker.
No.
And just be done with it.
Or, you know what? You know what would be a great way? Episode 9 starts off, there's no text... Fuck everything up. No, wait. Just bear with me.
Episode 8's a dream.
It cuts to Luke's bed, and he wakes up, and he's like, "What the hell?" And then
he opens up the door.
He opens up the door, and he's at the Jedi Academy, and you see everyone training and stuff. He's like, "Oh man."
It's like, well, I'm not having kids.
Real quick, Carrie Fisher is going to be in this movie.
She's dead.
They have leftover scenes.
They have leftover scenes from Episode 7. Not even from Episode 8. It's from 7. Which I don't know how they... J.J. was like, I have plenty of footage of her. I don't know how the fuck they're gonna...
I mean, he probably did.
I had a conversation with my friend John about this, and we had a pretty good idea. You know, if you look at all the Star Wars movies throughout time, between 1 and 2, you have, 10 years? Right? 10 or 8 years?
From 1 and 2?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like...
Oh, yeah.
8 years old, and then...
I'm thinking of 4 and 5.
He's like 8, and then he's like 18?
No, he was 11, I think, in Phantom.
And then
he becomes, like...
a teenager.
Maybe, like...
17?
16, 17.
Okay. Then from 2 to 3, you have 3 years. From 3 to 4, you have 19 years. From 4 to 5 is 1 year, I think. 5 to 6 is 2... No. 4 to 5, I think, is 2 years, and then 5 to 6 is 1 year. 6 to 7 is 30 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
7 to 8 is a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
You don't have to do a matter of minutes. You could push this out 5 years down the road, and then just explain that Leia died.
They're not, though. They already said she's going to be in the movie, and I really wanted them, like...
Well, it could be a flashback.
Yeah. Like, this is how she died.
Yeah.
Cut the her dying,
really
cut away.
hoping to, like... It'd be a cop-out, but just the scroll.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying, like... You don't have to have it take place immediately after. You could try to stretch this out. Yeah. Both sides are trying to lick their wounds and rebuild.
Like, pretty much at this point, they need to go to Lando. Because the Resistance has nothing at this
Chewie.
point. They have Chewie.
They have Chewie.
They have Chewie and the Falcon. That's about it. But they have, like, nothing. Their ships got destroyed. Like, pretty much
Admiral Akbar, which was a cop-out.
They should have fucking made him the fucking suicide bomber.
So wait, the Resistance is more or less shattered, yes?
Yeah, like, it's at its lowest point.
Okay.
In the sagas.
And I'm assuming that the
New Order is pissed off because they could have crushed him right then and there, but Luke held him off. So Kylo's probably like, fuming with rage right now.
Well, it's at the point where Kylo is pretty much the head boss right now.
But
he pretty much, his anger and like ignorance made the Resistance get away. Because he gets so mad when he saw Luke. He's like, everybody shoot on him. So all their fucking... Which, how fucking sick would that have been if that was actually Luke dodging all that shit? Like, in the movie, like, pretty much Kylo Ren has every single ship they have just fire at the projection of Luke.
I almost knew right away. That was one thing I did get right, was that was a projection. Because, one, his beard was a different color, and two, he had the blue lightsaber.
See, I'm just like, he got into fucking shape. He trimmed his beard, cut his hair. But he pretty much projected an image of what Kylo Ren saw him last. Yeah. So he recognized him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it also, it could have been even more interesting. Like, you see how strong Kylo is. You could have had a little bit more fun with it had Luke actually there and him just, like, kind of push everything back and just make him a badass.
You know what sucks, though? At the end of their fight, like, one of the last things he says, see you later, kid.
Yeah.
And why the fuck would they kill him after that? Like, that would have been so badass.
You know what? Snoke was such a wasted opportunity because remember how JJ was saying that we were going to find out about the Knights of Ren and Snoke and all of that, and we
how
never
mad
got
do you
that.
think JJ is?
Who knows? But wouldn't this have been a kind of interesting twist? I thought about this too. When Snoke dies and the lightsaber cuts him in half and he falls over and everything, and then when Hux comes over and Hux is like yelling at Kylo, Kylo's like, "No, I'm in charge." How cool would it have been if it was actually reversed and it turns out that Hux was actually Snoke the whole time? And
Snoke was just a figurehead?
Yeah, the Snoke that you saw.
That would have been pretty fun.
That's more of an Iron Man 3.
Yeah, but Iron Man 3 wasn't, like, horrible.
But Iron Man 3, the Mandarin was a defined character.
Yeah, but they did the whole Mandarin, but he's not the real Mandarin. This guy is... I don't know.
Yeah, but it would have been better.
Imagine if Hux was actually like a Sith, though, because he's such a weaselly character.
That's what I'm just saying now.
No, but I'm thinking of it more that we're talking about. That could have been cool.
Yeah.
You need to come over, like, on a day that's not a filming day.
Maybe.
Fucking say, maybe just fucking come over. You can bring the
Fuck you, I have a personal life.
Yeah, well, your personal life is with me.
No, my personal life doesn't involve you.
You're awful. You're a bad friend.
I think we beat Star Wars to death.
Alright. Real quick, you know what I'm fucking souped about?
Your mom?
Disney. I almost said DC. Imagine if DC got Marvel.
Well, that's probably going to be coming next, honestly.
Disney's going to buy DC.
We'll get into it in the next episode.
But Disney finally bought Marvel, so let's have a...
You mean Disney bought Fox?
Fox. Idiot. Let's have a beers in the air.
He's drunk.
No. Here's the thing. My issue with it is Disney's becoming a monopoly. I don't like it.
Honestly, I agree with you. The only thing I wanted Disney to buy was the Marvel characters. They should
all the other stuff.
Fox is stupid. They should have bid it off their properties instead of the whole fucking shebang.
Well, I don't know. Fox got a fuck ton of money out of this.
Yeah, but how much Disney would have fucking gave so much money for Fantastic Four and fucking X-Men. Then Comcast would have given so much money because they have fucking.
You know what disappoints me about that whole thing is that God, Hugh Jackman was like the perfect Wolverine, and we got so many shit movies with him.
All right.
Yeah, but then Logan was fucking great.
No, the Wolverine wasn't a bad movie until the end. When he had the fucking mech suit, fucking Silver Samurai. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, but I didn't mind
What's the one where he's fighting the fighter jet and he cuts the fighter jet's wing off or whatever?
That's probably Origins.
That one was so bad.
I mean, it gave you the best shot of Wolverine actually going nuts and popping out of the tank.
Best scene was in fucking...
Logan was kind of fun, but I didn't like him dying at the end. I know that was probably more homage to Hugh Jackman more than anything else.
I felt it was a fitting end for his character. For
I
him
didn't
to
like
die there.
how it was Wolverine versus Wolverine thing.
Yeah. Let me say something.
Yeah, but that's the only one that can stand up to him.
I don't know about you guys, but I've had pretty good luck when I go to the movie theaters. In terms of like audience.
Oh, I haven't.
Logan was horrible with the audience. There was this group of 4 or 5 people sitting like 2 rows behind us, and they were old. All these old people. There was this old fat guy who was like talking throughout the previews, and there was like a preview for some really awful looking movie. I can't even remember what it was, but it looked like ass. And he was like, "Got my ticket bought and paid for," and he like had to yell it out so everyone would hear it. There was this old woman sitting next to him. I don't know if it was his wife or his sister or what. And she's there, and she was laughing at every scene that wasn't funny. Like, someone pulls a chair out from behind a table, and it was that laugh the entire time. And it almost ruined the movie for me. Because...
See, I'm ruthless in movies. Like, I'll literally look at them, not raise my voice, and be like, can you guys please shut the fuck up? Like, I fucking hate it when teeny boppers are in the movie, because I'm always like, can you guys shut up or just leave? Thank you. And then I have that worry that I'm just going to feel like a skittle hit the back of my head.
That's why you carry a knife. You're going to stab him.
It got to the point where I was with my friend Greg, and we were like cracking up because of that laugh. It was always at like the worst possible time that it would happen. I think when Professor X got like stabbed, it was
he's having a psychic seizure. Everybody's like,
and then at the very end, when Logan is dead, and they have the cross over his grave, and they put the big fat guy was like, oh, they're doing the X because of the X-Men.
That's
me and Greg lost it. We fucking lost it. We were like, seriously? So we make reference to that all the time. Like, oh, that's because of this.
People disappoint me.
Dude, I really hope that... Like, I don't even hope. I don't need to hope.
You do. You really do.
No, Fantastic Four is going to be amazing.
I don't know. Fantastic Four has always been such like a cheesy group.
Look, if we're looking at the movies that are already out, the first one wasn't absolutely terrible.
Which one? Fantastic Four?
The original one.
No. From the 90s?
No.
With that really ridiculous...
No, the one with the
one that was never released.
You saw the trailer with the art...
No, the Jessica Alba one. No, I will give them credit. That Silver Surfer scene was...
Yeah, they didn't do bad with
Johnny
that.
Storm's chasing Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Who owns Silver Surfer right now?
Marvel now.
Was that Fox, though?
Yes.
Yeah, it was still owned by Fox.
Okay.
So now we got fucking Galactus, son.
They're going to bring it all together.
The Galactus was done pretty weirdly in one of them. Wasn't he like a cloud?
Yeah, that was Silver Surfer.
Yeah, he was a fucking cloud. He wasn't a fucking guy with a dumbass helmet.
Yeah. I actually have an action figure of Galactus. He's like enormous. He's like this big.
And
you press the button on his chest and he goes, I hunger.
I mean, look, he's the most OP character in that series, so let him go.
Yeah. I'm fucking so excited, though, because, like, fucking... Think of this, though, like... Sorry. X-Men Dark Phoenix and New Mutants delayed
indefinitely
till next year. So Dark Phoenix, just think of like the badass end credit scene they're gonna have now because they're a Marvel property.
You know, I love the original X-Men cartoon from the 90s.
Yeah, you're probably the biggest X-Men fan.
I loved X-Men. I actually have a whole collection of Marvel trading cards. And what was cool is, like, I didn't have that many comics, but they put, like, so much detail on these cards for, like, their story and stuff. So that's how I got to keep up with it. Okay. And I have a whole bunch of... I have, like, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. Like, a whole bunch of them. And that's how I kept up with the stories. And then the cartoon was so faithful to the original comics, which was really cool. Except for Morph, Morph was... Although they added Morph into the comics, I think. Yeah. He was actually supposed to be some original character, and then they killed it off because it was terrible.
It was Wolverine's bro.
Well, anyway. So that's how I got the stories for that. And X-Men 1 I liked. I really liked X-Men 1.
Watch it again.
Why? Do you think I'm going to hate it?
It's so bad.
I liked X-Men 1.
For the time and what they had, it was...
No, I fucking remember seeing that in theaters. It was awesome. X-Men 2, though.
I didn't like X-Men 2.
What?
I didn't like X-Men 2. Weren't good. I didn't like X-Men 2 because I don't like how they handled the Phoenix story. I was really disappointed because I wanted them to do it the right way.
And all that.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
I know that's hard to do, but they could have pulled it off.
Yeah, like the Phoenix was like...
I also think it was too soon to do the Phoenix.
Well, you don't have as much emotional attachment to Jean Grey to really care if she's a Phoenix or not. That's the problem with this new X-Men movie. Like,
but they should have built... I feel like they should have waited to build up.
Well, that's the problem with the new movie, The Dark Phoenix. It was one fucking X-Men movie with her as Jean Grey. And now they're like, Phoenix again. It's like, we don't care enough for Jean Grey to make another Phoenix movie.
Yeah, but at this point, you kind of just don't need it. You just need something that'll, like, re-bring everything forward. Because there's the entire Phoenix Force that comes right after the Dark Phoenix And that in itself is one of the best parts of that.
The best.
I love the inner circle thing.
Yeah.
That is such a great story. Such a great. That's why I wanted to see it done properly.
Yeah, you don't need to have Jean Grey to make the Dark Phoenix work.
No, the Dark Phoenix should have been the 4th movie.
It should have, but here's the problem. They already fucked it up because the 3rd movie exists. And even with the whole retcon of, oh yeah, Days of Future Past exists. That doesn't
I really
matter.
like Days of Future Past. I thought they did Days of Future Past justice.
See, I am in the minority in this. It's an okay movie.
I loved it.
Anything in the past was awesome, but then when they got to the future, I hated the Sentinels.
But
Like, they're the crazy, like...
Nimrod.
Yeah.
Nimrod.
Oh, I hate it.
That was actually from... Nimrod was the Super Sentinel of the future.
Yeah. I know bits and pieces of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not, like, super great, but I remember, like, the animated series and a bit of the comics. So
I love the scene in the animated series when Bishop goes... And they were like, what is that? He's like, Nimrod!
Good old
Did you see Deadpool
90s.
2?
No, I didn't. I have... Alright, unpopular opinion. I haven't been that crazy about Deadpool.
Did you see the
Only
first
because everyone... No, because everyone, like... I was going to see it, but then everyone's all, like, doing, like, these Deadpool memes
no,
and
but
stuff,
the
and I feel
problem-
like it's so cliche.
The
now.
problem with
It's like-
Deadpool is, like, he's a popular character, so we need to like
I
him.
also hate the
No.
idea of how, like, he can control anything. He's like, oh, I don't like this next scene coming up. Let me grab the pencil out of the sky and erase it.
No,
so
he
I
doesn't
feel
do
like-
that. He doesn't do it.
No, but they definitely
I know,
use...
but what I'm saying is, like, it's overpowered. It's like...
Yeah, but they use the fourth wall, especially in the movie, and how Ryan Reynolds had a part in, like, writing the entire story. They write his character so well that it fits next to perfectly. Like, I don't know if you've seen any of the clips, but he beats the shit out of someone. I forget his exact name, but he beats the shit out of someone. He looks dead at the camera. He's like, "You're not going to want to watch this." Moves the camera and then proceeds to beat the shit out of him. And it's just like,
It works.
it's entirely funny for the character. You don't need to know anything about it. You just have to watch it.
No, like, I honestly feel the same way about Deadpool. Like, the movies make me like Deadpool more. Because the comics, he wasn't supposed to be a joking character at the beginning.
Well,
Rob
he's just a knockoff of Deadshot.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a serious character. Like, he wasn't written as a joke. But then as time went on, like, the writing just got sillier.
But that's what makes his character better.
No, yeah.
I had this conversation with a lot of people.
No.
My friend Greg's he's a big comic book fan, and he was just like, that's the point of the character. I'm like,
It's not even that. They're just good movies. Especially the second one.
Even if you go, like, you don't know anything about it, like, they make reference to Hugh Jackman a lot in the movie. They make reference to how the fact that they didn't have the weapons and how their budget was cut from Fox. Like, they tie that in perfectly. He forgets the weapons in the car. And, like, it was perfect how they did it. And he's like, oh, shit, I don't have them. Oh, well. And it was like, it still made a great movie.
No, yeah. And Deadpool 2, like, spoilers. Do you care for spoiling?
okay.
Fucking, they have Juggernaut. Fucking so good.
Does he do the Juggernaut bitch?
No.
Does he have the dome helmet?
No, he actually has, like, the
Oh,
real
so he has,
helmet.
like, the actual...
He doesn't have the fucking, like, stone-looking...
the dome, but...
Fucking stupid shit they had in X-Men 3. Fuck that movie. Fuck that movie.
bitch!
No,
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
yeah, but I mean, like, in the original comic, like, he just had a giant fucking red dome over his head.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have had a lot of campy fucking fun with that in Deadpool 2 and just like,
No, but it's good. Like, he's actually huge, too.
I'm gonna go watch it
It's so good.
soon. If it's on Netflix, I'll try and watch it this week.
It's not.
Oh, well.
Why don't you just come over to his house one of these
Yeah,
days?
you could always just hang out with...
I'll
hang out-
find you in Florida.
Hang out
I
with...
swear to God.
You know, just hang out with your old friend Chad. Bring
Yeah,
Nicole
old.
over.
Keyword, old.
Wow.
Old.
Am I only good for the Stam podcast?
Yeah, you're good for the table. We also need a black tablecloth, by the way. Our new editor said so. Hi.
Don't judge my table, woman.
Why, it's shitty. It really is.
Well, Sean Linnane gave it to me.
Oh, so this is the best table in the world.
It's the best table in the world.
Don't feed into him. Help me.
You don't get the joke.
No, I won't. It's fine.
It's a running joke. Our friend thinks everything he has is the best.
He had the best watch in the world that he could dive, 600 meters with, and he dropped it in a puddle and it broke.
Nice. Nice.
Fuck you, Sean.
To go on more of a reminiscent track, when was the last time you watched WWE?
I went to WrestleMania last year, and that was I did the whole weekend. I did the WrestleMania weekend where we got to go to like the little thing where we got to meet some of the wrestlers. I met Rhino. Jacqueline was there from the Attitude. Remember Jacqueline?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
Remember
there.
seeing her boobies on a... King of the Ring pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, she was on top of the referee and her shirt got ripped off. Yeah.
Chris is like,
Rhino was pretty cool though. I got to shake Rhino's hand. And I was like, "Hey," and he was like, "How's it going?"
"Fuck Rhino."
Yeah, I met Cesaro, who's I don't know if you know Cesaro, but he was pretty cool. I was actually wearing a shirt from oh God, why am I blanking on the name? This is bad. Edit this out. Is it
Hulk Hogan?
No, it was from Caddyshack.
Oh, okay.
Caddyshack, and it says "Be the ball," and it has the picture of the golf ball. If you remember that scene, you're not being the ball right now. But I'm wearing that shirt. Cesaro, it was our turn to come up and meet Cesaro. He comes up, he goes, "Hey, be the ball, Caddyshack! I love that movie." So I kind of had a little moment with him, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
That was like when I met Robin Englund. I was wearing an Evil Dead shirt. He's like, "Bruce Campbell, I love that guy," and I'm like, "Me too."
So we did the whole weekend. We got to see NXT, which is their minor league, which is something new in wrestling. I don't know if you've heard about it, but NXT is so much better than WWE because all the minor league guys in Triple H runs it. So Triple H has more hands-on with it.
Because they pull more risks, right?
Yeah, and it's also the storylines aren't as campy and cheesy. But I went to that show, and that was their WrestleMania. I think it was like NXT something, and I can't remember the name of it. But we went to that, and the crowd was so into it. And it was crazy. It was such a really cool atmosphere. And then we did WrestleMania, and WrestleMania was at the Camping Center Arena, which is it's a giant outdoor arena for college football, but it holds like 70,000 people, and I think we broke the record for that arena. We had 73,000 people in attendance, which was pretty crazy. But it was a fun, enjoyable show. That was
you got lucky. That was one of the better WrestleManias I heard from seniors.
Gronk was there. Gronk got in the ring and tackled one of the guys.
Gronk can suck a dick.
Well, he was lucky because he could have gotten hurt. From what I heard, I guess he went a little too rough on the tackle or something like that.
He gets hurt every season. So
he's not part of the Patriots anymore. Fuck him.
He's not?
No.
I think he is.
No. I thought he got traded out.
Well, if he did, then spoilers. I didn't hear about it.
Dude, he doesn't even need to play football anymore. I don't think he's spent like any of his football money. He's been living off like that Dunkin' Donuts money.
Yeah.
He has so many lost like IQ points from all the hits in the head. He doesn't need to be playing football anymore. He's just going to lose more. He's already like, me Gronk, me party.
It's like Gary Busey.
I have my party bus, goddammit.
Well, if you can make royalties, fuck it.
So yeah, it was a fun, enjoyable show. I think the thing that ruined it for us though was we got to see Undertaker's last match, and we thought it was his legit last match.
How many last matches has he had?
Well, we thought it was his last match because he took his coat off, put it in the middle of the ring, folded it up, took his hat off, and put it down. And then his wife was there at ringside, and she like hugged him and everything. And everyone was doing the "Thank you, Taker," and we thought this was the end. We thought this was the actual end. And then this past year, they were like, "Undertaker's back," and me and all my friends who went to the show, we were like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Dude, I honestly think he just gets bored. And
he shouldn't be wrestling anymore. He's in bad shape.
Yeah, but now Sting put out that thing where he's like, we could still have one match.
He has like 190.
Sting's just as old as Undertaker.
That's fine.
He's older than Undertaker.
Is he older?
Yeah.
How long do you want to watch two old fuckers go at it with their walkers?
Last time they had two old guys wrestle at WrestleMania, it was Vince McMahon versus Bret Hart. And Bret Hart can't wrestle because he has so many problems. And someone had a sign in the front row that said, "This match was brought to you by the AARP."
Bret the Hitman Hart. Holy shit. All right.
Imagine if Owen Hart was still alive.
Oh, I know.
Dude, I remember the day I found out about that, I was at my grandmother's and she had the news on. And I was just running around the house being a crazy kid. Then all of a sudden I come up to the TV and just start bawling my eye. I liked Owen Hart.
Owen Hart was like a fan favorite.
And they fucking douche him over so much with the blue. What was this little
The Blue Blaze? No, he ran with that, though. Yeah, he ran with that. He made that something special.
He made that special, but I don't think he wanted to do it.
They were going to throw the belt on him, though. That's the thing that hurts the most.
Yeah.
They were going to throw the belt on him.
Owen Hart would have definitely been one. And is he even in the Hall of Fame?
He's not because of his wife.
Oh, yeah, she won't give any.
She will not allow them to. And this past Hall of Fame, when Mark Henry went in, he looked at the camera, I think, and he said something like, "Martha, it's time."
Yeah, I
and
remember
she
that.
will not.
Because she's still holding a grudge. Cause
she's holding a grudge.
There was a whole conspiracy where they actually did it on purpose. Because pretty much his whole shtick was he was
going to come
down from the ceiling.
And the harness broke and
his head
he
in a
died.
turnbuckle or something like that. So there's a whole conspiracy going where they did it on purpose because there was a lot of controversy with Owen Hart and Vince McMahon back in the day.
Yeah, but it turned out none of that was even true.
No, because
they had a great
fucking stupid. Vince McMahon's a fucking insane motherfucker, but he's not gonna fucking kill somebody.
No, Vince and Owen had a very good working relationship because I think I remember reading where Vince actually, after the whole thing happened, this Montreal screw job, that was 2 years before Owen's death.
Yeah.
He even went up to Owen and was like, "Are you going to be okay working?" And Owen was like, "It's business, you know." So,
and a lot of that wasn't even really. Like, wasn't that, like, with Shawn Michaels and everything, and, like, what was...
Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, yeah.
Yeah, because Shawn Michaels was in bad shape then. Like, he was fucking hurt. Like
his back.
Yeah. So, like, a lot of stuff happened where it probably should have went to Bret Hart, obviously.
It was in his hometown, but what Vince was afraid of was, and a lot of wrestlers agree with this, if you're going to leave and you're a champion, the right thing to do is to drop the belt.
Yeah.
Because you're leaving the company. That's the right thing to do. And Owen had this whole thing where he was like, I'm in my hometown, I'm not dropping the belt. You can vacate it the next night. Fine, but I'm not dropping the belt.
But that's
and a lot of people,
shitty thing to do.
It is, but Owen should have dropped the belt. I mean, Brett should have dropped the belt.
No, that's what I'm saying. He should have.
Yeah.
Even if it's hometown, just don't feel a fucking asshole about it.
Yeah.
But Vince is like probably the most like.
What he was afraid of was, I don't know if you've seen the clip. There was Wendy Richter or one of the divas back in the. Oh, sorry, can't say divas anymore. One of the women wrestlers.
They don't call them divas.
They're
anymore?
not allowed to call them divas anymore. Someone got offended.
Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah. So she left the company and she showed up on WCW. And the announcers were talking. She walks up behind them. They're all like, "Oh, what are you doing here? What are you doing? You're the women's champion for WWF." And she picks up the trash can and takes the belt and drops it in the trash. And that was like that hurt McMahon. He felt hurt by that. And he didn't want that to happen, especially to the big belt. Who knows? I mean, a lot of people say Brett wouldn't have done that, but you never know.
See, the problem with wrestling now is Vince McMahon
has no competition.
It's not that. Everybody thinks like he's such a shitty guy, but he fucking put himself in such shitty like publicity situations back in the day. But if you watch wrestling now, Stephanie McMahon's like pretty much in charge of everything. There's not been one time where she's been looked at as the bad guy pretty much by like her storytelling. Mm-hmm. Like everybody knows she's the bad guy.
Yeah.
But she won't put herself in a situation Vince McMahon did where he just got like the shit beat out of him. People would boo him all the time. Like I
have a lot of respect for Vince McMahon.
He had that strut for a reason. Like he knew everybody hated him because he was a big businessman. I
have a lot of respect for Vince McMahon because he's one of those guys who like never sleeps. Yeah. He gets like 2 hours of sleep. He's always doing something. He's at the gym fucking... He's at the gym. He's like 70-something years old and he's ripped as hell.
Yeah, he's at the gym like at 5 a.m. But Stephanie McMahon just has like this ego about her where she won't... Like any wrestler that pretty much confronts her gets made to be like a bitch on the show. And like, I'm not saying things need to go back to the Attitude Era, but they need to be a little more... Like, we're living in an era where violence is more acceptable. And I'm not saying, like, the Divas need to, like, have the bra and panties matches like back in the day where...
Oh, that was fun to watch.
Yeah, very fun.
Again, but internet was different.
We don't need freaking...
Hey, let me tell you something. Watching SmackDown and seeing some divas wrestle in their bikinis was a lot easier than trying to go on dial-up and being like, come on!
Remember fucking Edge and Lita sex thing?
Oh, the sex scene on
and
Raw,
you actually saw Lita's boobs?
Yeah, for a very brief second.
So her boob was hanging out, and you're like... I'm fucking like 12, 13, 14, 15, I don't know. And I'm like, it's a nice boobie. I appreciate that.
Let me run to the bathroom real quick.
Mom, get out of here! No, but...
pee.
Dude, wrestling definitely needs just like a Like, if
they definitely need a revamp.
If anything needs a reboot, it's WWE. First of all, fuck the Wildlife Foundation. Get that fucking WWF back.
They definitely need to... I mean... I don't know what the right answer is on that.
Think of all the wrestlers now that could be so much better if it was the Attitude Era. Like, they're trying to push Roman Reigns. That guy could be a good heel.
One of my gripes about it was, in the Attitude Era, if you remember, everyone was big. Right. Everyone had, like, something special about them. You know, you had... I mean, obviously, you had the... Actually, you had a lot of big guys, if you think about it.
No, but every wrestler was a big wrestler. But now you have, like, the 3 main guys, and you have everybody filling in.
But think about it. You had Rock, Austin, Triple H, Undertaker, Kane, Kurt Angle.
You had DX with all of them.
Well, no, I'm talking about like for the big singles competitors guys.
Yeah, but even the DX guys were good singles guys.
But they were more like intercontinental. European Championship guys like Billy Gunn, Road Dogg.
Billy Gunn and Road Dogg were the big tag teams. You had Triple
X-Pac.
H, X-Pac.
X-Pac wasn't a main eventer.
He was a good before the main eventer. And you had Chyna, who did some big female wrestling matches.
Yeah, she won the Intercontinental title.
Like, everybody knew... Well, the point I'm trying to make is everybody knew who these people were.
You had the Dudleys, you had the Hardys, you had the Hollies, you had, Edge and Christian.
Remember Crash? He wasn't even from Cranston?
No, he wasn't from Rhode Island.
There was one...
Spike Dudley was from Rhode Island.
Spike Dudley.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like this tiny-ass motherfucker.
Remember the Dudleys and Hollies? They had that feud where they had Molly Holly and Spike Dudley who were in love. What are you doing, Molly? You can't date him. He's a Dudley.
Dude, I honestly think they should just start rebroadcasting, like, the Attitude Era.
Well, you can with the network.
No, but I'm saying, like, nobody remembers that. Like, new people, so they should just... Like,
well, you can with the network.
I know, but it's so much money.
$10 a month.
I don't know, $10.
Come sign up. No, I'm just kidding.
Sponsors!
Hashtag not an ad. Hashtag please make it an ad.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is, like, if you have content where it's wrestling, it's not supposed to be family friendly. Like, we didn't have a problem back in the day seeing all this stuff. Like, there was a lot of times where Dad would be like, don't get the boobs, son. But, like, my dad would bring me to wrestling all the time, and he would get in, like, he didn't like it, but when he was there, we'd get into it and everything. It was one of my favorite fucking memories of my father. Like, he would take me all the time, and, like, we would just fucking, he would laugh, because it's so horrible. But that's the point, like, just because there's, like, a little bit of, like, I will admit the blood, maybe. Tone down the blood, you don't need wrestlers cutting themselves with razor blades.
Like Ric Flair.
He was bad with that.
He was really bad with that. I feel like if you sneeze on Ric Flair's forehead, it'll bust open.
But Mick Foley, a lot of the blood was real.
That's because Mick Foley was
Remember when he
insane.
fucking got thrown off the cage, he had the tooth going through his nose? Did you ever see that shit?
No.
You know
Mick Foley was like a daredevil. He loved hurting himself. He
no,
enjoyed pain.
A lot
I
of
really
it was
think he enjoyed pain.
He went to the Japanese wrestling.
He did exploding C4 matches. They would
Yeah.
put a bomb in the ring and under a piece of plywood, and they would suplex him on it, and it would explode.
All right.
He did barbed wire matches where they would replace the ropes with barbed wire.
He loved it, and especially with like the two.
Thumbtacks was one of his big things. One of his matches when he was Cactus Jack, he would take out a bag and throw thousands.
But
of
he would be
thumbtacks
the
all
one
over the
throwing
ring.
out.
And he would get ready to throw the guy. The guy would reverse and throw him on it. But there was a match he had with Randy Orton, and he threw Randy Orton on it. And Randy Orton only wore like the little itty bitty tights, and when he like got up, he was like.
Yeah,
I think it was
I don't think
real.
he knew it was gonna hurt that much.
And then you look at his back, and you see him all sticking to his back, and you see like little drips of blood like coming down his back.
All right. Yeah, wrestling was insane back then. But there was this one match where you know what the Hell in a Cell is? It's probably like as high as
It's like
maybe
a cage.
Probably a little higher.
It's different than the cage because it goes around the ring.
No, I said a cage.
It's a cage where it's
the cage match you would attach it to the edge of the ring.
Oh,
This
okay.
it went on the outside, so you could still get out of the ring and walk around, but you were enclosed.
It's probably like a little higher, probably like 2 or 3 feet higher than the ceiling, right?
No, it's a lot bigger. Hell in a Cell was a lot bigger.
I saw it live before. It's probably like 5-10 feet higher than.
It's like a massive cage, right?
Have you ever seen wrestling where you know they have like the announcer
and it has a
and
roof.
everything?
Where a cage match doesn't have a roof. So the point is to escape.
You know how they have the announcer booths and everything? He pretty much went to the top of the cage, and you even see it. There's a scene where, like, right before he does it, you can see Undertaker being like, "You sure you want to do this?" And Mick Foley's like, "Yeah, just do it." He fucking throws the guy off a fucking 20. What do you think? It's 20 feet? Probably 20 feet cage onto an announcer booth, and he gets up and continues. Like, does he continue?
He gets back up on the roof. Undertaker then chokeslams him
through the fucking thing onto
a chair. No, it was onto a chair.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you could see him. He has his tooth through his lip into his nose.
Right.
And he continues to match.
Yeah.
Like, there is no wrestler today that would fucking do this shit.
There's
Not that I want them to.
There was a couple wrestlers that were a lot tougher that would put up with stuff like that. Like, you could tell if you watch some of the old hardcore matches, whenever they would do a chair shot, there were guys who would, like, put their hands up and brace for it. There was other guys who would just take it.
Yeah, they would literally put their hands back and go, ugh.
The people like Hardcore Holly was like...
Oh, he was a dick, though, I heard.
He was a dick, but he had an awesome match. I don't know if you saw it, but he had an awesome match when they brought back ECW against Rob Van Dam.
Oh,
and him and Rob Van Dam had this really awesome match, and of course the fans were booing him because they were like, "Oh, you weren't original ECW." Rob Van Dam suplexed him from inside the ring to the outside, goes through the table, and the black part around the table broke off and sliced his back open, like deep, and his back was gushing blood. And they were like, "You want to stop the match?" And he was like, "Hell no, don't stop the match."
Do you remember the street fight with him and Al Snow?
Yeah. That's when he won the hardcore title.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is, so like, he finished that match, and after he lost, but he got pinned, and after when Rob Van Dam was celebrating and left, he got up. The fans started cheering him, and because they were like, "That was fucking awesome." He had to get like a ton of stitches for that too. It was a deep cut.
That street fight was awesome though, because they actually went out into
They went out into the river.
It was snowing out, like it was like winter when they did this, and they were in the water. Like
one of the guys got thrown in the water. I think it was Al Snow got thrown in the water.
Remember Al Snow with head?
Help me!
It was such a bad match. He used to carry around this little mannequin head. And there was like
"Help me" written
there was a
backwards on
tag
his forehead.
there was a tag team match. Remember when they had the Head and Shoulders? Somebody put a bottle of Head and Shoulders on. They pinned the head and they won the match. That was the writing in that Attitude Era.
Solid.
It's still
How
better.
about when he would get the bowling ball and he would roll it into the guy's crotch?
Dude, I fucking like. They just seem to fucking remember like the old video games. You had fucking Bozo the Clown throwing like fucking.
That was Doink the Clown.
No, there was Doink the Clown, but then you had Yokozuna like throwing chicken wings at people. And
That was a
stuff.
really bad game. That was Super WrestleMania.
That was so good.
Such a bad game.
Oh, Chris.
It was built on the Mortal Kombat engine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they had like the live.
Yeah, the live character.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was so good. I don't know. But what do you want to talk about? Because we've been kind of ranting about our fucking.
So if I can, and I don't know how big of a James Bond fan you guys are, there's been rumors going around, or, as you said, it's maybe more of just the actor, but Henry Cavill said that he wants to play Bond after Daniel Craig. My whole thing is, I'm a big Bond fan, and I've read most of the original books by Ian Fleming. I'm still trying to get a collection of the books, but they're impossible to find. So if you didn't know this, James Bond is based off of a book.
Yeah.
Ian Fleming was the original author of the books, and he based a lot of it on his own personal life because he was a spy during World War II.
Oh, wow.
So he based a lot of it off of his own life. Obviously, the movies kind of made some of it a little bit more ridiculous, but
Campy.
yeah, campy and stuff like that.
That's
but,
why I like fucking what's his name, fucking the new James.
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig, thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, it's funny. It kind of came in waves because, like, you had Connery, who kept it serious for the most part. Towards the end of his run, he stopped giving a fuck, so it kind of got a little cheesy. You had Lazenby in between Connery's run because Connery
He had,
left.
2 movies.
No, he had one.
Just one.
Yeah, Connery left after You Only Live Twice because the Japanese people wouldn't call him Sean Connery; they would call him James Bond when he was in Japan. So he got really fed up and he quit.
That's amazing.
So after that one, they had Honor and Majesty's Secret Service, which is the best book of the original series, but they got the worst actor. He wasn't even an actor. He was a model. He did one commercial for a chocolate bar or something.
Nice.
Yeah, and they got him because he was a model. He lied on the application, too. He went up there to talk with Cubby Broccoli, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm an actor. I did all these movies in all these obscure countries." And they were like, "Okay, you're hired."
Back before you could do background checks.
Yeah. And he was, I didn't, a lot of people are now coming around because I guess it's like a hipster thing to do, like, "Oh, I always liked that movie." I can't get behind
It's like,
Lazenby.
let's take every movie that sucks and be like, no, it was good. You guys are just stupid for not liking it.
So that movie, he quit. His agent told him to quit because they thought Bond was just a fad and it was going to die out.
Yeah, okay.
So his agent told him to quit, so he quit. They begged Connery to come back. They gave him a ridiculous amount of money back in 71 or something. Comes back for Diamonds Are Forever, and if you go back and watch that movie, Connery looks tired the entire movie because he just doesn't give a fuck. He didn't care at all. So he leaves after that. They get Roger Moore, who has the longest span still of
This
movies.
is more of the campy one.
Campy, very cheesy, all that. And then after, when Moore wanted to step down kind of early on, but they kept throwing money at him, so he stayed on. And they wanted an actor by the name of Timothy Dalton all the way back from 69. Timothy Dalton, I actually like Timothy Dalton because he actually rooted the movies again, made them more serious, less campy.
He do 2?
He did 2.
Yeah.
The reason he was going to do more than 2, But there was a problem. After 87, you have Living Daylights, which was his first one, great movie. 89, License to Kill, which gets mixed reviews because they feel like it's very Miami Vice. It deals with a lot of drugs in the 80s. It's a very 80s movie, but I enjoy it.
The 80s were either very good or very bad for movies.
And it's a lot more serious and it's a lot more violent. A lot more violent than any of the Bond movies before. It was the first PG-13 Bond movie.
Casino Royale. That was a fucking violent movie.
I'm getting there. So he was going to do a third movie called Property of a Lady, but they got into a legal battle over who owned the rights to the movies. So it got delayed, and then delayed again, and then delayed again. Meanwhile, Dalton has other projects. He wants to work on other stuff, and he can't because, he's in limbo. He doesn't know what's going on. Finally, they get the script for GoldenEye, and they were going to get... And Dalton's contract was running out, and they were like, all right, we finally got it together. We're going to do GoldenEye. And by that point, Dalton was sick of waiting, and he said, I'll find someone else.
He was old, too, right?
Yeah, he still could have done it. No, he wasn't. He still could have done it. He was in his early 40s when he did Living Daylights.
Just if I can get 1 second. Just found this out. The Hollywood Reporter, Guardians 3, stars say working for Disney is pretty nauseating after James Gunn firing. Fun fact.
Repeat that?
So the stars from Guardians 3, they say it's very nauseating working for Disney now that James Gunn was fired. So James Gunn basically made it worth working in those movies.
Yeah, because he made it fun and he took advice from...
But I just saw it, so I wanted to throw it out there. That's why my phone vibrated. I apologize. Continue, though.
Hold on. I gotta say one thing.
You're drunk.
No. Every once in a while this happens. Where I might have to...
Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, that's why I fucking looked at you and shook my head and say no to another PBR, but your dumbass was like, I'm gonna drink another PBR. Alright, here's a brief fucking intermission for episode 19.75.
Continue talking.
So, alright, I'll continue talking. So after Dalton, everyone knows we got Pierce Brosnan with GoldenEye, and Pierce Brosnan did 4 movies. I rank them good, bad, good, bad. Other people have mixed opinions on the middle too. GoldenEye obviously was his best one, and then you have the 2 middle ones that people,
hit and miss, and then Die Another Day, which is universally hated, horrible. CGI, which was like the first for Bond, because that was kind of the cool things. It was all practical. That was like the first one to do CGI, and also the Madonna theme, which I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with that. So wait, is that the one with the? Was it Halle Berry? No.
Halle Berry, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, then I know the one you're exactly talking about. That was one of the first ones I had seen, and I was like, well, this is shit, and I don't want to watch the rest of them. Then I watched the Sean Connery ones, and I was like, why didn't you show me these first?
Yeah.
These are better, please.
Yeah. So like I said, you have these spurts within the Bond universe where like it starts off gritty, down to earth type of thing, and then it gets all campy. It comes in waves.
It ebbs and flows, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the interesting thing about it. So Daniel Craig comes along, and what kind of irked me about it was like I think I'll get into Daniel Craig in a little bit, but what irks me about it is when Daniel Craig did Casino Royale, everyone was like, "Oh man, it's so gritty and stuff. How come they never done that before?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, where the fuck have you people been?"
I feel like it's because they pushed it for what it was, and for the Bond movies, especially if you look back at them in this day and age, they definitely pushed it a lot farther than what it was.
No, but a lot of it also is most people don't remember like 80% of the Bond movies.
They also don't go and watch them. Like you're just you're getting new people to watch these movies.
I can't even sit here and lie and say I've seen every Bond movie.
I have.
Oh, yeah. I have. You and Sean and Nate have the box sets.
Yeah. So anyway, so it comes in all that. Daniel Craig, I have mixed feelings on Daniel Craig.
I love him.
I will say this though, Spectre.
I've liked him. He's pretty good.
Unpopular opinion. I loved Spectre. Absolutely loved Spectre.
It was a very underwhelming movie.
What was the last one with the dude with the blue faceplate?
That was Skyfall.
Yeah,
that was basically
fucking beautiful.
That was basically The Dark Knight.
I like that movie.
I think I like Casino Royale better.
That was Skyfall was basically The Dark Knight.
But I also think I like Batman Begins better than Dark Knight. So
no, Dark Knight.
I actually probably like Batman Begins better. Yeah. It had such a strong base.
It was so good. That's a very underrated movie. But anyway.
So anyway, I loved, because I've read the books and I know the whole history and everything, I love Spectre because, now here's a fun fact, you guys probably don't know this. The main villain in Spectre was Ernst Stavro Blofeld. Blofeld was Bond's arch enemy from the very beginning.
Didn't have
All right?
Blofeld's cat, though.
They did.
In the Spectre?
Yeah.
Did they?
Remember when Bond's getting tortured and the cat is on his lap? And he's like, oh, hey, pussy, or something like that. He makes a Bond joke.
I gotta watch it again. I don't remember the movie.
Blofeld was his character. The reason why they had to stop using him was because, again, of a legal battle.
Yeah.
The rights got all warped up. They finally get the rights back. As of recently, Sony worked so hard to get the rights back. They finally have everything Bond under one
Sony
umbrella.
not own it anymore, though?
Sony still owns it, I think.
I thought it was a new...
Probably for a few more films before they like.
Oh,
sell
you
it
know
off.
what? You might be right.
Keep
you
talking.
Might be right.
I'm gonna look it up. Though.
It's MGM. MGM owns it.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so I know what's coming with Spectre. Now, if you don't want spoilers, or if you haven't seen the old movies, you might want to skip past this part. But
There'll be time codes in a second.
How this works is in the original books and in the original movies, Bond is kind of a broken person. He never has a real serious relationship. He just fucks women left to right.
Yeah.
He finally meets a woman who can kind of keep up with him and everything else, and he's asked to marry her by her father. He says, no, I'm a bachelor, I'm not doing it. But then as time goes on, he realizes he's actually falling in love with this woman. Turns out, depending on how they're going to handle this, and I don't know yet how they're going to handle it, she saves him. He falls in love with her, and he asks her to marry him. They get married, and after the wedding, they're out for a drive, getting ready to celebrate their honeymoon. Blofeld causes them to... In the movie, she gets shot. In the book, I think they get driven off the road. They get forced off the road, and they crash, and she gets killed. Mm-hmm. So Bond has a wife for all of an hour. So... Spectre. Now, that was On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which was that movie with that one bad actor, George Lazenby. I see where they're going with all of the movies. Like, I started off with kind of a lukewarm reception to Daniel Craig, but as I saw it building up, and when I saw what Spectre was doing, it's the build-up for On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I'm thinking, oh my god, they're finally going to do it. They're finally going to have a good actor to do this. This is awesome. And they do the movie, and that's why I loved it, because it was a throwback to all the old stuff. They had Blofeld, they had the cat, they had, the girl, and they kind of hinted at it at the end when they're driving away and she's wearing a white dress. And it's not really a wedding dress, but it's a white dress. It's almost like they're hinting at it, and I'm like, oh my god, the next movie, they're building up, they're going to do it, And then it comes out where Daniel Craig's like, I'd rather slash my wrist than play Bond again. And I'm like, no, it's the curse all over again.
Yeah, but isn't he supposed to be doing like...
No, he is going to be doing one more.
They push the check forward.
Yeah, he is going to be doing one more.
I hope he's a little more lively in this one than Spectre, though.
He's going to be doing one more, and what's bothering me is that they're not going to get Christoph Waltz to come back to play Blofeld.
Really?
He doesn't want... He said, and this is so stupid, when they interviewed him, he says, well, if Daniel Craig's not coming back, then I'm not going to do it. And then they get Daniel Craig, and he's like, well, no one actor has ever played Blofeld twice, so I guess I'll keep the tradition going. And I'm like, that's such a cop-out.
That guy's such a good actor, too.
I know, it's such a cop-out. So that's why I was really, really disappointed when they announced that. Because I knew where it was going, and I knew what they were going to do.
They're not going to pull the rug out from under you.
I will give Spectre credit, though. That beginning scene was awesome.
The Mexico one?
Yeah. That was so cool.
There's a lot of throwback in that movie to a lot of old stuff. So for someone like me who's like a big Bond fan, that movie was like really a lot of fun.
See, I hear a lot of people who are big Bond fans didn't like the movie because they thought it wasn't as my
friend John, who's a big Bond fan, loved it.
Yeah.
Me and him both were like raving about it. I've gone on to like the James Bond subreddit, and there's people on there who said that they liked it. So it's I don't know. It's kind of...
That's when we're walking out with Sean. Sean's a big Bond fan. He's even like, it's not that good.
Well,
I don't know. I thought it was very underwhelming.
Someone made an argument, and this really pissed me off. Someone made an argument. They were like, "Oh, why did they do that guy, Christoph Waltz character, with the cat? Like, that's so old. Why would you ever do that?" I was like,
"That's a callback."
I was like, "You can't do Batman without Joker.
Yeah.
You can't do Bond without Blofeld." It's like, that kind of hurt me when I heard that. Just kind of.
What's all those people trying to be cool and being like, "Meh, meh, meh."
Yeah, I'm so edgy.
But,
so what I was getting at with the Henry Cavill thing was that
is it Cavill?
Cavill, whatever. I don't care.
Cavill,
human. The guy who plays Superman.
The guy who plays Superman. Yeah, there we go. He's 35 right now.
He's so cool, dude.
He has the look, and I think he could pull it off.
He has that fucking suaveness to him too.
And he could totally pull it off, and I'd be for it. The problem is he's 35. We still have to wait for Bond 25 to come out. It doesn't have a title yet. I don't even know if they've started shooting Bond 25 yet. And
Is that the next one? Or
that's the next one.
Have you seen
that's the code name for the whatever.
25. Okay.
So this is the 25th movie.
Did you see a new Mission Impossible yet?
Not yet. Everyone keeps telling me it's really good.
Not even a problem. What the fuck am I saying? The thing about this movie is everybody's seen Henry Cavill in this movie, and they're like, he should be Bond. Just because of the fucking gravitas he fucking puts forward.
The thing is, and I know it's one of those things that everyone kind of talks about, but it's something I'd really like to see. And
don't you be talking shit about my Henry Cavill.
No, it'd probably fit better is Idris Elba.
No.
Why?
No.
He's too
old. He's too old.
No, I definitely agree. I agree with him for the age
He's almost
thing.
50.
The problem they have with what's his name?
Who?
Cavill?
No. Bond right now.
What are you talking about?
Whoever's James Bond right now.
Daniel Craig.
Problem with Daniel Craig is he's fucking old as shit.
Yeah, he is. He's pushing 50 himself. Okay. But the thing is, he has several movies behind him.
Okay.
So if you were to step off from him now and put in just another old person, that's not going to help. That's
because when the new Bonds come through, isn't it just supposed to be a new someone's picking up the mantle next?
I don't know. See, Bond has had a sliding timeline for the first 20 movies. It was a sliding timeline.
Oh,
that was supposed to be the same guy throughout the entire thing.
Skyfall, they kind of fucked it up with the grave and everything. They pretty much didn't Skyfall. They pretty much put it out that his name was Bond, like that was actually his name.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a code name.
Well, that code name thing's not that's not an actual thing.
That's not an actual thing.
No, that's not. That was a fan theory.
All right.
No. 1 through 20 is the same Bond, same person, but it's a sliding timeline.
Oh, okay.
That's why they have hints of it, like with Tracy, his wife who gets killed in License to Kill, the Dalton film. He's there for Felix's wedding. Felix is his CIA counterpart.
He Purcell was 45.
Yeah, he's too old.
Yeah,
too old. So in that scene, Felix's wife is like, she has the garter, and she's like, "Hey, Bond, you know what that means? You're the next one." And Bond looks at her and he goes, "No," and then she's like, "No, yeah," and he's like, "No," and then Felix then goes, "He was married once," and she's like, "Oh,
oh, okay." Craig's 50 though.
Who?
Daniel Craig's 50, and he was still doing those.
Now, let me finish with this, then you'll understand where I'm coming from. Back in the day, they were able to crank out a Bond movie every 2 years. Actually, early Connery was every year.
That's the problem.
But they could crank them out every 2 years. So if you're going to get someone in there, you need to get someone. You need to think long term. You need to get someone in who's young, so that because the Craig movies, you look at the time difference you have between the Craig movies. He's been doing it since 2006, and he only has 4 movies to his name: Casino Royale, Quantum, Skyfall, and Spectre.
So that gives him 5 over the last 16 years.
And the 5th one's not even out yet.
Alright, so then I can see from your
Henry
perspective,
Cavill's only
even
35.
Like, even then, Henry Cavill, if you want to say it,
but that's my problem. He's 35. You have to wait for the first movie to
this last movie
to be
still
done.
gives you 10 years to
And then what?
Yeah.
Then he's 45.
So you have to find someone different.
You need to find someone young who can do it. I kind of wish they would get back to the 2-year rotation.
No, but the thing with Henry Cavill is he and fucking Daniel Craig are totally different people.
Daniel Craig's very rough around the edges. He doesn't have the suave.
It's not even that though. Henry Cavill could be the rough around the edges, suave guy. But I'm talking about more body build. Henry Cavill is going to keep himself in more shape than Daniel
He's going to have to because
Daniel Craig has never had to keep himself in shape. And
well, in Casino Royale, he has that scene where he's wearing the little Speedo.
Yeah, but that was how many years ago?
2006.
8 years ago?
No.
I'm retarded.
That was 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Yeah.
But fucking Henry Cavill, I am so worried that they're not going to make him Superman again. Why are they fucking doing a Birds of Prey, all this fucking bullshit, but they won't do a Man of Steel 2?
Because fuck it.
So, Henry Cavill needs to be smart and be like, I need to find a new franchise.
Why call it Birds of Prey, though?
Just
call it Gotham City Sirens and be done with it. It's a better title. End of story. Everyone knows what it is, just let it sit at that. Catwoman, Ivy, and Harley Quinn. It'll be fine.
I'm hoping that movie's on hold. I don't want to get frustrated right now, so I don't want to talk about DC.
You're already frustrated. You already took a piss.
I love DC too. I love DC, and
DC
it's just it's so sad to see them spinning their wheels like this because they have so many great characters. And
DC should be able to make movies better than Marvel.
They should.
The problem is that Marvel has one guy, Kevin Feige, just dealing with all of it. And granted, he may be a piece of shit when it comes to it, but he's still
not a piece of shit. What are you saying?
No, it's how he handles it. Like, if you look at all the behind-the-scenes stuff,
that's not all to say. That's more Disney.
No, but I understand. But he still gets a majority of the say when it comes to it. And he's, like, I've heard about it. He's kind of a piece of shit when it comes to it.
He had nothing to do with James Gunn.
No, that I know is Disney, but I'm just saying.
He had nothing to do with
if I could finish and you just shut the fuck up for 30 seconds, you drunk bitch.
What's up, bud?
He's kind of an asshole because he's the one guy taking care of it. Whereas with DC, you have, like, 30 dudes sitting in a room all like, no, this is all what we're going to do.
That's the problem.
Just get one person there and let him do it.
That's why they have Jim Lee now.
Yeah, but how long is it going to take him to get it under control?
Now. Fucking look at Shazam. Aquaman, I'm a little skeptical. Have you seen the Aquaman trailer?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Go either way.
I mean,
have you seen the Shazam trailer, though?
I haven't seen the Shazam. I know you told me to look it up. I haven't looked it up.
Take a watch. It's actually...
It looks amazing.
I feel like they're leaning a lot more towards what Marvel has, and you can see it, but if they pull it off correctly...
Like, you've seen Big, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
It's going to be Big, but superhero.
Okay.
Like, he's fucking acting so well with this. I don't know. But, long story short, DC's characters should be able to be... Like, Batman. What's his name? Fucking the guy directing the new Batman movie, Matt Reeves. He's already said it's not gonna be a Batman Year One movie.
I hope not, because there are too many fucking Batman origin stories.
Yeah, there's
already.
too many Batman
within
origin
the last
stories.
20 years, 30 years.
No, but I'm excited with this because he's pretty much just gonna throw Batman. And there's even things like there's still Ben Affleck hasn't been put out as not being in the movie yet. And there's been a lot of like people like
he has been so off and on. But there's articles where he says he's going to do it, and there's articles where he says he doesn't want to do it.
Can you blame him though? Look at fucking Batman vs Superman. Look at fucking Justice League.
You have to keep continuity. Like if you're going to do it, then you need to do a fresh reboot of everything. And if they're going to stay with it, they need to figure it out before they go any farther.
They should pull a fucking Marvel and have him dye his hair black and fucking put the de-aging thing on him. And fucking have Ben Affleck as Batman, but make him look a little younger. You don't even need to do the de-aging thing. He doesn't look that old.
No, he doesn't.
Just fucking, he's 45. Just fucking dye his hair, put a little makeup on him to make get those wrinkles out of there. You don't even need to fucking do the de-aging thing like you did with Robert Downey Jr. and everything. Ben Affleck still looks like a young asshole. They just gotta take that gray hair out and fucking have Jeremy Irons as fucking...
You need...
Alfred.
Continuity. That's it. That's how you're gonna win people.
That's why I'm
with
excited
these
about
movies.
Shazam, because they actually have
Zachary Levi signed on.
No, in the trailer they show like newspaper articles of like Batman, Superman, and all that stuff, and they have the batarangs and everything. So it's showing that yes, this is still in the universe.
It may be in the universe, but if you keep getting Ben Affleck, who's like, "Oh, I might not do it. I might do it," you're gonna fuck the continuity, and it's not gonna make for a cohesive story.
Like Ben Affleck already said, I will be in a Matt Reeves movie, even if he makes me a fucking CGI ape. If Ben Affleck's, I am not mad at him, because he has had so many times where, the only good Batman he has ever done was in Suicide Squad, when he busts Deadshot. And obviously they had the warehouse scene, all that.
I want to talk to you about this, because this irks me really bad. But how do you feel about them? I heard they were talking about doing a Joker origin movie. Are you against that?
Please don't.
Oh, we're not going to agree then. We're not going to agree.
Well, I don't want to...
See,
let me guess. You're probably in that group that says Joker doesn't have a backstory. He just appears out of thin air because of the Dark Knight.
No.
Okay.
I really just don't want to... As much as I hate to say it, I don't want to see a whole Joker background story with everything that they've done. Again, I'm going to stay with the continuity of the movies. I don't want to deal with comics or anything. You already see the Joker of where he was from Suicide Squad. If they have Batman in it, that already makes Suicide Squad a part of the DC universe.
The problem with this is they're going to have the, what's his name, Jared Leto Joker, and then they're going to have the Joaquin Phoenix. Phoenix movie. It's gonna be totally separate. So basically, they're being like, we have all these They're basically their new things, the DC universe. So they're putting it DC universe movies, being like, we can have our main DCEU, the extended universe, and we can have our one-off movies, which I think DC would do a lot better with one-off movies than trying to do the Marvel thing where everything connects. Just because Batman... Hold on. I know you want to talk. But Batman, like, everybody's excited about Justice League, but in a realistic way, Batman should just have his own movies. I don't think we need a Justice League movie right now. Like...
They're not established.
Like, a Justice League movie, Batman's just worthless. Because if you need a villain that's so, like, crazy to take on the whole Justice League, Batman just doesn't need to be there. That's why in Justice League, Batman was like, holy shit, when he almost got, like, blasted. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Doesn't he almost get, like, ruined by Doomsday or Superman?
Yeah, but then Wonder Woman saves him and everything.
Yeah, but that's because half of the Justice League is overpowered.
It's like, I want all these heroes to just have their own movies. I don't need a Justice League movie. It was exciting at the time when you think about it, but maybe further down the line when they can actually think of a coherent story where it's not like fucking... What the fuck's his name that was in Justice League? It wasn't even fucking Doomsday. It wasn't fucking whatever. Darkseid. It was fucking just stupid little bullshit. I can't think of his name.
Oh, hit Darkseid's little
minion guy.
Yeah.
Like the thing that
forgettable one.
They could have fucking.
I see him in my head and I can't think of his name.
Steppenwolf. They could have made it so much better because Steppenwolf actually they could have made him be like, I don't want to be with Darkseid. I want the most power for myself. And then they could have had fucking Darkseid come and at the end of the movie and just like fucking wreck house and like kill Steppenwolf instead of like the fucking crappy Mortal Kombat CGI they put in. It was so bad. It reminded me of Mortal Kombat. You know it reminds you of Mortal Kombat.
Right.
Those movies are so bad.
So like, then look at it, instead of looking at it from your perspective, look at it as the perspective of the mass audience that you gather. The reason Marvel does so well is because they appeal to the mass audience of, oh, hey, there's Robert Downey Jr., and he's been in the other Iron Man movies. I've seen these. I already know what's going on.
The problem is everybody has to run things differently. Hold on. You look at all this, but Justice League didn't make any money. Like, Ant-Man's making as much money as Justice League. Everybody should be excited for the Justice League, but they put it out too fast. They didn't distinguish.
Because they haven't established themselves.
That's what I'm saying. They rushed. So you need to have all these single movies and end up build up to maybe... There's a reason why Batman's in the Justice League. Because, like, we only got, like, a small glimpse of what Ben Affleck could have been for Batman.
But then you need to take a break with all the DC movies and just give it, like, at least 4 years. No. And you gotta hear it. You gotta give it at least 4 years. No DC movies. None of that shit. And then just put one fucking movie out. It's just like, oh, hey, this is the Batman movie. You don't even have to make it a fucking origin story. Then you put out, hey, here's a Superman movie. Here's a Wonder Woman movie. Here's
what I was
Flash
getting at
movie.
before with the Joker origin thing is, I really hate the people who have been coming out lately who are like, Joker doesn't need an origin. Didn't you see The Dark Knight? He doesn't have an origin. He just appeared out of thin air. See, that kind of pisses me off because in the comics, and I don't know when it was when they established his background.
He doesn't have a background. There's been a lot of...
No, because he's debatably supposed to be the Red Hood.
No. Before that, it was always he was thrown in a vat of acid. They added the Red Hood thing in for killing Joke.
Yeah, because Red Hood is quote unquote supposed to turn into the Joker. That's kind of where I'm following it from.
They added that in in that one, but
so
everyone always knew that Joker was thrown in a vat of acid, and that's how he
came out
Joker.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I just hope like the whole Joker thing is like it was supposed to be. He's a struggling comedian, which I think they're going with this.
That's the Killing Joke.
Because they're having the talk show host, which is Robert De Niro. Then they have the guy from Glow. I forget his name. I'm sorry, but whatever. You guys know who he is. The fucking guy from Glow being his agent, and I feel like a lot of this movie is going to be like him starting. It's going to be more of a personal. It's like I feel like it's going to be an hour and you're going to get the Joker. Like, most of the movie is going to be him, a personal story of him trying to be a comedian, him trying to get the agent, and then all of a sudden shit's going to go down. He gets through. The problem is, like, we need Batman.
Yeah. I really like, personally, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I love how they handled it in Batman 89. And in, have you seen Batman 89?
It's the animated film?
No.
No, it's the Tim Burton one.
The Tim Burton one.
With Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then yes. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. And I like how they built upon it in the animated series, the Bruce Timm animated series. I love how they had Joker as, before he was Joker, he was a gangster, part of the mob. Yeah. Always was, and then the whole acid thing happened, and he becomes Joker.
See, with this one, he kind of becomes like a wannabe gangster because he's a comedian and he goes with the wrong crowd trying to get himself up. And
that's the killing joke, though.
Yeah, but I like that. Like, it's just like this desperate guy being like, because the Joker's always been like kind of a desperate.
I like it better where he's not. I don't want him to have a sympathetic background. I like it better where he's always been a dick, and now he's an even bigger dick because he's the Joker. You don't need to make it sympathetic. You just need to make it like. But when you make him like a struggling comedian, you
but he doesn't need to be sympathetic. You just be an asshole and be like, he needs to just make some money, get like all this stuff.
So he moves over to go into the mob, and you can easily just meld both of these stories together.
Yeah, it could be like they promise him
the ability to start playing bigger venues if he starts paying out with the mob, and
but then there's this one
then I would be okay. Because imagine if I don't want the sympathetic I'm struggling, I'm trying to help my wife, and I think Joker should always be like, before he was the Joker, he should have always been a massive dick.
Dude, you know what I want the most though? Like
Jack Nicholson's performance is fucking awesome.
This is one of the best Jokers.
This is gonna be cynical as fuck. Imagine if like all this happens, like him and his wife, like it's not an abusive relationship, but it's on that brink. So he's just pretty much on the edge of like breaking because he can't get his like shit together, and so he has all this stuff. Then he starts getting a little cocky because he's working with the mafia and everything. So they go on this one run. Then all of a sudden he falls into that acid. It fucks with him. It like fucks with his head and everything. He sees himself in the mirror.
Bleaches his skin.
Yeah, he sees himself in the mirror. He just starts laughing, and then you could have like that little scene where you just see his face, just like the smile just going like up. And like his face just like sticks like that, and all of a sudden just like the mirror breaks. Then you see him go home to his wife, and his wife is just fucking horrified by this. Then all of a sudden he just fucking like out of a fit of like rage and just like fucking insanity just murders his wife, and then it's just like all this is just like a behind shot, like you don't even see his face. Then all of a sudden, like the camera just pans out and you just see his face. He's just like full Joker. His hair is green from like the acid and everything. You could have it like blonde hair. His hair just turns green, and all of a sudden you just pan the camera out and you see that fucking grin, that Joker laugh. Like Joaquin Phoenix will fucking pull that off perfect. And all of a sudden that's just like the end where the Joker just goes crazy.
Chad doesn't like when I say this, but I'm going to be this person to say it. Just overlay it with Mark Hamill's Joker laugh, just for shits and giggles.
No, I feel like
I love Mark Hamill's Joker.
I played Dark Knight a few years back when it first came out. Every part of the Joker in that is perfectly written.
There's a guy who does a really awesome, I don't know if you've seen it, it's on YouTube, but a guy does a really awesome impersonation of Mark Hamill's Joker, and he reads the lines from the Dark Knight. And it's just, the only thing that he's missing is he's doing the
Mark
how
Hamill
do I get the
did
smile.
That, if you look it up on YouTube.
Well, yeah, he did it at a show, but there's a guy who does an impersonation of it, and when he does the how did I get these scars on my face, the only thing missing is the Mark Hamill laugh at the end.
Yeah,
they need to add that at the end, and it would be perfect.
Again, as I've said it again, and I'll say it a million times, Mark Hamill is one of the greatest, if not the best Joker.
So that's the thing me and him talk about all the time. If you're gonna fucking do a Joker standalone movie, just fucking have Mark Hamill do it.
Yeah.
He could probably pull it off.
Like
he's not even that old. He's like 60.
The Joker's...
Well, yeah, and you can hide it with them. He's gonna have to have makeup on his face anyway.
Let it go. The Joker's not a fucking physical person. Like he can throw down.
Yeah, he beats the shit out of Batman constantly, but it's just like...
But it's more of like a douche way. You kick him in the nuts, hit him in the crowbar type thing.
Hey, here's an acid flower and a
Mark Hamill fucking... Like, why not just have fucking Mark Hamill? He's a great actor. Like, I told him, there's this movie, Sushi Girl. If you like Mark Hamill, watch this. Because it's really fucked up. He plays like a serial killer. They're pretty much a bunch of killers at a table, and they have like this girl laid out.
The naked sushi
naked,
thing.
And she has a bunch of sushi on her. But Mark Hamill's fucking so sadistic in this movie.
Is this pre or post car crash?
I don't know. Probably post.
Okay.
But watch this movie and to see how Mark Hamill acts. He could fucking play a live action Joker.
I'd love to see it.
Perfect.
I really would.
Like, they fucking have this Uncharted bullshit out with Nathan Fillion. Fucking, why can't Mark Hamill just make a fucking Joker like fan film?
Because he's still riding on that
Like, the problem
Batman
is-
animated series money.
The DC, it's so funny. DC has it right with their animated movies. I don't know if you've seen them, but the DC animated movies are so good.
Oh yeah, they're great.
So good, but their live action movies are terrible in comparison. Yep. I almost wish, and I hate to bring this back to Star Wars, but I almost wish Disney took that route instead of just jumping into doing a trilogy. Yeah. I wish they almost did like an animated. It could have been 3D animated.
Yeah, just like a filler.
Like, of several movies of really great expanded universe books, and that would have been awesome.
So, as much as I hate to say it and cut it short,
we need to cut it, but I just need to run up and grab.
No, I mean like we're
probably way over.
Yeah, we're at more than enough for 2. Like I can get it to work. We're good.
All right.
So, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this because I fucking did. I loved having you on.
I could keep going.
Yeah,
I really could.
I'd love
keep
to have
going.
you.
This is why I definitely want to have you on.
Yeah,
like,
we can do a Skype
and
session.
And all that.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
That's why I was very upset.
You got like any?
You're definitely one of my favorite friends to be able to do this with.
Yeah,
if that makes
fun.
sense to you.
It's fun.
Kinda drunk. You've had 4 PBR, Chad. 5.
Lightweight.
Can't say. I'll do it to you. Do you have any social media that I can throw up that people should follow, or?
This is Star Wars thing.
Just my Jedi Knight Discord. If people
want
to try to play it,
and all that.
I mean, I use Instagram, but it's nothing like. It's mostly pictures of me like sunsets and cars.
It's fine. Most of me is my nonsense, and then a few of my girlfriend. It's fine.
Yeah.
So just
I'll send you the link. You can.
I'll throw it up on
it's
screen.
Right here.
There you go. You'll see the splash.
There.
I will kill you.
Thank you for joining us.
So join us next time. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode and the previous episode. I've been Chris.
I'm Chad.
I'm Andrew.
Join us next time. Adios.